Hello, this is Sherrell T with Empower to Thrive, where we help business owners create, build, and maintain financially thriving businesses. So today we're going to talk about how to calculate the break-even point in your business. But first, I want to lay some foundation. So every year, at the end of the year, every business in America sits down and looks at their profit and loss. And when they're looking at it, they only look at three numbers: their gross revenues, their gross margin, and their net profit. Now, some more savvy business owners will take a look at all the detail, and if you have an accountant, they'll sit down and discuss some other things with you and break it down even further, get more analytical. But the average business owner, the average small business owner, only looks at those three numbers. Now, the gross revenue obviously is the income that you generated in your business. But the gross profit and the net profit are calculated based on what your gross revenue is and what your direct and indirect costs are called. What they total, sorry. Jumping ahead of myself here. So, depending on what industry you're in, direct costs are also called cost of goods sold. Indirect costs are costs like overhead costs or general and administrative costs. Those are the terms that you'll hear throughout the world. But for simplicity's sakes, I'm just going to call them direct and indirect because I don't want to confuse you. Now, direct costs are costs that are directly related to a specific job or task. Regardless of what industry you're in, despite what people believe, it's not just for construction contractors. If you want, you can call it, it's the same thing as project costing. Again, it's any cost that's directly related to a specific job or task. So regardless of what industry you're in, you can have job costing within your business. So for contractors, these are things like materials, labors, subcontractor costs, again, that you spend on every job, and you can directly tie it back to a job. For example, for coaches and consultants, these costs tend to be major events and initiatives that they put on an annual basis. And for multi-level marketing companies, for example, these are costs, it depends on what service you're in. So if you're in a service-based multi-level marketing company, these are the promotional and marketing materials that you buy to help you generate potential clients. And if you are in a product-based multi-level marketing company, then these are things like your catalogs, your inventory and display items that you use when you set up at different events and functions. Okay, so now indirect costs. These are the costs that you need to keep your doors open. They're not specifically related to a job or a project or a task, and they are what you need to keep your business full, up and running and functioning, right? So there are things like telephone expense, office supplies, utilities, office rents, business licensing, training expenses. These are all these expenses that you need in order to have a full business. But they're not directly related to a specific job, project, customer, or client. And that is the key difference that you need to understand between indirect and direct costs, is that indirect costs have no direct relationship or correlation to anything specifically that's generating income in your business. Okay, so now that's the foundation. So now let's calculate what your break-even point is. And it's really a simple formula. Remember, break-even is the point where your income and your expenses meet. It is where profitability actually begins to occur. You can call it ground zero if you like. It's the point where you're at the minimum, right? And so it's a simple formula. You take those direct costs and those indirect costs, and then you add them all together. And whatever number you get, that is the amount of income you need to generate minimally in order to keep your business afloat. You don't have a profit, but you don't have a loss either, right? And so what you can do is take that a step further, and you take that number and you divide it by 12, and that will tell you how much income you need to generate on a monthly basis. So if you have costs of $100,000, then you basically know how much you need to generate on a monthly basis so that you can hit that goal. Then you can take it even a step further down and divide it by your average fee, and then you can figure out how much you need to generate, how many clients you need in order to hit that monthly goal. So if your costs are $500,000, right, and you divide it by 12 and you figure out you need 41,000 and some change per month to hit that goal. So at $500,000, you're like, oh my God, how am I going to do it? But at $40,000 a month, it's like, okay, that's a little more manageable. And then if you divide it by your average fee and say your average fee is $10,000 for your services, then it's like, I only need 4 clients. And then you're like, well, hey, I can do that. That's just 1 client a month, right? So that's basically how you calculate it. You take your direct and your indirect costs and you add them all together. You divide it by whatever number you get is the number you need to hit to get to ground zero. And then to figure out how you're going to hit it, you take it and divide it by 12 and then divide it by what your fee is to figure out how many clients you need and how much money you need to generate on a monthly basis to hit that goal. So now, I want to hear from you. How do you calculate what it takes to operate your business every year? And do you know how much revenue you need each month and how many clients that it takes for you to break even? Be sure to leave your comments over at our blog at empoweredtothrive.com so that our community can benefit and learn. Did you like this video? If so, please subscribe so you can receive these tips directly every single week and share them with your friends, your fans, and your followers so that they also can benefit and learn. And if you want more tools and tips on how to make your business a thriving one, then make sure you get over to our website and grab our free audio CD over at empoweredtothrive.com. Now remember, in order to thrive financially in life and in business, you have to push past your fears, excel in your ability, and soar to new heights. I look forward to talking to you next week. Take care and thrive.